Hey, welcome to Dating Advice for Men Who Love Women. In this video, I'm going to give you one quick tip that will make all of your conversations with women better. And it's a very simple tip, but it will put you in the right frame of mind for how to have attractive, fun conversations with women that they enjoy. And when you're talking to a woman in this frame of mind, she's going to have more fun with you, want to be around you more, and it's more likely that she'll be more attracted to you when you finish having your first conversation with her than if you have a different frame of mind in your conversation. And so, what is the quick tip that I want to share with you today? Well, it's simply this. Instead of asking her, "What do you do for a living?" ask her, "What do you like to do for fun?" instead. Now, again, this might sound really simple, and there's a lot of levels to this and a lot of stuff going on when you're talking to a woman. And by the way, this tip applies to when you're talking to guys too for the first time. Instead of just interviewing them like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" try this question: "What do you like to do for fun?" instead. It leads to a lot more interesting conversations and a lot more fun because think about it for a second. How many people really love their jobs? Not that many. Not that many people are super passionate about what they do for a living. And if you meet someone who is, that's great. That is a good conversational topic then. If they really love what they do for a living, then it is interesting. And of course, you can ask people what they do for a living. It's not a big deal. Of course, you can. However, here's the thing. On the first level, it's great that you're just asking a woman questions instead of talking about yourself like a lot of guys do. So just asking her, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" is still better than you talking about your job for 20 minutes because we want her to be talking a little bit more than you in the conversation as much as possible. And then it's even better if instead of that, you ask her, "Hey, what do you like to do for fun?" Now you're in the mindset of being light and playful and having a good time and having good vibes and having fun. When you're talking to a woman, this is not an inquisition interrogation. It's not a job interview, and it's not a therapy session. So always keep in mind that love is light and playful. It's not heavy and serious. That's a big myth in our society. Love is light and playful. It's not serious. It's not heavy. In fact, getting too serious too soon is one of the biggest mistakes we can make because it starts crushing female interest. And it's also a mistake if you're not even looking for a relationship and you just are going for hookups. You got to have that fun vibe for that to happen for the most part. It makes it a lot easier. Whatever your goals are with women, having kind of a fun vibe in the background and being playful and keeping things light is going to help you out. It's going to make you a lot more successful. And then when she starts sharing things that she likes to do for fun, you can riff on that. You can share a story from your life that's related to what she likes to do for fun. Or alternatively, even better, you can ask her a follow-up question based on something that she said, and then let her talk even more about something that she's really into. And then you can share a little bit back that's related as well if you want to. And so, for example, if she says, "Oh, I really like to go surfing," then you can say, "Oh, that's really cool. What are your favorite spots to go surfing?" And now she can talk about different areas of the country that she's been where she's gone surfing. And now she's talking more about something she's really into. And it's even better if you can ask her about how it makes her feel. Like, what's it like when you're out there on a big wave? Like, how does that feel? I've never really done that. That's an even better question. Do you see how much more interesting that is for her? Because she's going to share something with you that she's very into versus like, I work in a corporation and I go to a cubicle all day and bang out paperwork. TPS reports are not sexy. So, again, at least you're asking her a question and letting her talk if you ask her what she does for a living. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that question. It's just a little bit better if instead you start off with something like, "What do you like to do for fun?" And again, this little kind of shift in your frame of when you're talking to someone new, especially a woman, can make a big difference in the way that she feels around you. And everything is based on the way she feels about you and around you. Dating is all about vibes, how she feels. And so we want to lean into that when we're talking to a woman, especially for the first time. And again, this tip also makes your conversations with guys that you just met more interesting as well. And here's the other side of this. Let's say that she asks you that boring interview question of, hey, what do you do for a living? Well, a way to answer that question from her that makes the conversation more fun is if you give her kind of an outlandish, silly, ridiculous answer first. And then if she asks you again, then you give her the real answer. So, for example, if she says, hey, what do you do for a living, by the way? You say, oh, I'm a pirate. Yar, or I rob banks. It's not as hard as it looks on TV. Or I'm a ninja. It's actually not that cool. It's a lot of waiting around. You got to be really patient. There's not a lot of action like you see in the movies. Or I'm actually a secret agent, but if I tell you who I work for, then I would have to kill you. Whatever it is, like it's more fun to answer in a ridiculous way first that she knows you're just being playful about, not like some other trying to be cool job or something like that. Just like something ridiculous. That makes it more fun and playful already. That's the vibe that we want to try to establish in a conversation with the woman. And then if she says, no, really, what do you really do? Then now you can give her the real answer, like, oh, I'm an accountant. It's really, really not that interesting, to be honest with you, whatever it is. So if she asks you what you do for a living, try giving her a silly answer first. And then if she asks you again, then you can give her your real profession. You're not trying to hide anything from her or anything like that. You're just making the conversation more fun. Because again, this is not a job interview or a therapy session. We want to have light, playful, fun vibes and build some attraction, make it interesting and spicy a little bit. And another thing about this, now she has to ask you again what you do for a living. And it's very subconscious and subtle, and it seems small, but it can have a big effect. She's coming at you a little bit. She's having to work for information about you a little bit. She's putting in more effort subconsciously. And that's what we want. And it starts right there in that first conversation with the dynamic that you set up in the way that you lead the conversation forward. And one way to do that is to ask her, hey, what do you like to do for fun? Instead of, hey, what do you do for a living? It's a much better, much more interesting question. So that's the quick conversation tip I wanted to share with you today. And then I have a bonus tip for you that can also make your conversation with the woman a lot more fun. And that is, instead of asking her what she does for a living, if you really want to know what she does for a living, guess what she does for a living instead. This is called making a cold read. And it's really a lot more fun and interesting than asking the question. So, for example, instead of saying, hey, what do you do for a living? You could say, hey, you're a nurse, aren't you? Or, hey, you're a college professor, aren't you? Or you're a lawyer, huh? Or you can even ask it as a question like, are you a kindergarten teacher? Something like that. And when you do this, you definitely don't want to guess something that could be insulting to her. So you don't want to say like, oh, you're an OnlyFans model, aren't you? Or, oh, you're a hooker, huh? That would be a mistake. So be a little careful with that. Just make sure that you're being playful about it or guessing something that's kind of a cool job that would make her feel cool. We want to lean into that more because you're already making it interesting by guessing instead of asking. And so you don't want her to feel bad about whatever you're guessing and kind of put her down in that way. So just be careful with that when you do this. But beyond that, this is a much better way to have a conversation with a woman than just asking her plainly the question of what do you do for a living? It's creating that positive, fun, light, and playful vibe that facilitates her getting more attracted to you and then eventually falling deeply in love with you if you want to have a long-term relationship. Love is light and playful. It's not serious. And so is attraction. And you can make a cold read or a guess like this for anything. It could also be like, instead of saying, where are you from? You could say, oh, you're from California, aren't you? Are you from Nebraska? You're from Boston, huh? That's already more interesting than just, where are you from? And here's another key to making a cold read. The coolest part about this is it doesn't matter at all if you're right or wrong about your guess. So if you guess correctly, she's gonna be like, "Oh, how did you know that? How did you guess that?" And then you can just say something like, "Oh, you just have that Nebraska vibe," or, "Oh, you just have that nurse vibe kinda. You seem kinda caring," whatever it is. And if you guess wrong, she's gonna be like, "No, actually, I am a lawyer," if you guess that she's a nurse, or, "No, actually, I'm from Montana," when you guess she was from California. And then she's probably gonna ask you, "Why did you think that about me?" And now she's curious. She's asking you more questions. She's coming towards you a little more. And again, that's what we want. And then you just say, "Oh, you just kind of have that California vibe a little bit. I guess I was off." Or, "Oh, you just seemed caring, so I thought maybe you were a nurse. That's all. Just have that vibe a little bit." And women tend to love these kind of like psychological profiles and astrology, all that stuff that's like about you, about her. Most women really enjoy that at some level. And so that's already more interesting and more fun than just like, "Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Cool. How many brothers and sisters do you have?" Just throw in a guest like this to spice it up a little bit. And then let her talk, as I've said many times on this YouTube channel and in all of my content. Let her talk as much as possible. And then keep that fun, light, playful vibe in the background at all times and just throw in some spice once in a while. You don't have to guess for every single thing. You can say, like, "Hey, where are you from, by the way?" "Oh, that's really cool. So you're a nurse, aren't you?" You did one question that was kind of normal interview question. Great, no problem. It's still fine. And then you threw in a little spice. You guessed something. Great. That's what we want. So balance it out a little bit, but definitely throw in some spice. And instead of asking her what she does for a living, first ask her what she likes to do for fun. Focus on making the conversation more fun and more interesting, especially for her, and you're going to do a lot better. And if you want to master having attractive conversations with women, we have a couple of programs that are really good for that. One of them is called Flirting Master, and I'll put a link to that in the description below this video. And then the other one is called Attractive Humor. And that one's a little more in detail, a little more advanced. So I'd recommend starting with Flirting Master. And then if you like that, then you can kind of graduate to Attractive Humor and get everything down in terms of using humor with women in an attractive way after that. So check out Flirting Master if you haven't already. And of course, in addition to those programs, we also have a lot of great free content for you. And it's not just the videos on this YouTube channel. We also have full free courses for you and free ebooks as well. And to get all the awesome free stuff that we have for you, just go to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. And the link to that is in the description below as well, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. And then if you want to be in a long-term relationship with the right woman for you, and you want her to fall and then stay in love with you as long as you want to be with her, then make sure you grab our best-selling Attract and Keep Her system if you haven't already. And to get that, just click on the link in the description below, scan the QR code on the screen, or go to attractandkeepher.com/system. That's attractandkeepher.com/system. And if you're not really looking for a relationship at the moment and you just want to have fun for now, then make sure you grab the Good Guy Guide if you haven't already. Because inside the Good Guy Guide, we talk about exactly what to do from the first moment that you see a woman from across the room, all the way until she's ready to go back to your place or her place. And then, of course, what to do once you get there as well, and how to make sure that both of you still feel great about everything the following day. So if that's what you're interested in, then go ahead and click the link in the description below, scan the QR code on the screen, or go to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com/GGG. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com/GGG, and pick up your copy of the Good Guy Guide right now. I'm Jim Wolf with Dating Advice for Men Who Love Women. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.